Alright, final encounter for set 11, so let's begin. And also Tolkien Rambo collab, but I'm gonna ignore that one because I don't give a shit about it. But first, cards for the last few days, in which we got a Cater Sanctuary double rare, Magic of Colorful Fire Lyrium, grade 1 AK power and skillless. Auto, when placed on rearguard except during battle. If your Vanguard is Genesis, cost, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, reveal one card from your hand. If it's a unit card that is grade lower than your Vanguard, you may call it to rearguard, otherwise discard it. For Genesis, where you're gonna pay a Soul Blast, which already can combo with some of your Soul Blasting skills, on top of being able to call another card. Sure, it can't be in battle, but this does give you some sort of plus. But anyway, second skill, Auto Rearguard. At the end of battle, this unit boosts. If your Vanguard is Genesis, cost, put 2 rearguards in the same column as this unit to soul. You choose one card from your drop zone that is Genesis and add it to your hand. Overall, pretty nice plus engine. Lets you, of course, draw and also, in a way, choice Soul Charge, which also refunds the soul by default, and recycles as well, which is going to be very necessary because if you're playing Minerva, you need Genesis discards. And now to the Tuesday stream itself. Skipping Tolkien Rambo, we're going to the Ezel Ride line. Here's the starter, which is Crypt. Very important as your starter, keep this in mind. In which we go to the grade 1 AK power, Knight of Elegant Skill Gareth, which has the skill Auto. When rolled upon by Knight of Superior Skills Bowmain, search your deck for up to one Reign Supreme King of Beasts, reveal it and put it to your hand, and of course shuffle your deck. Just like all the recent encounter ride lines, you basically search up your main order card that is an attack skill basically. But anyway, second skill, count rearguard during your turn. If your Vanguard is Ezel, this card gives us 2k. Kinda wish that they make this one a little more unique, in a similar vein to Vermilion, but oh well. Next, Knight of Superior Skills Bowmans. Grade 2 taking power and skills. Act Vanguard once per turn. If your soul has Gareth and Criff, you can discard a card from your hand to choose up to one incandescent line Blonde Ezel from your ride deck. Ride it as stand with drive -1 to the end of turn. Once again, Ezel comes back with a superior ride, this time from the ride deck. Sure, it gets drive -1 and you have to discard a card on top of it, but the discard is still going to happen regardless if you ride something from the ride deck, so that's not really big of an issue. But the drive -1, yes, it is -1 card for the turn, but the fact that you're going one turn ahead is just very powerful, which also leads you to Persona riding one turn sooner on top of that. But not only that, if your opponent is going second, you're going to be 2 grades above them. That is quite powerful right there, so you can Persona ride when they're still at grade 2. But anyway, second skill, Auto Rearguard. When this card attacks, if your Vanguard is Ezel, you may have this card gets us 5k power into the end of that battle. If you do, at the end of the battle, put this to the bottom of your deck. 15k attacker, not too bad. Put it at the bottom of the deck, maybe unnecessary sometimes, but this does in a way help out and combo with Ezel itself, because there will be mid-battle superior calling, which is going to be quite nice to clear up your board and you don't lose stuff. Also, the fact that you're calling from deck can actually prevent some deck out a bit since you're putting this back to the bottom of the deck, and of course the shuffling can also be very nice, so you could technically call this back again. Not sure will you run this for the second skill, but definitely for the ride deck. And now to Incandescent Lion Blonde Ezel, which is a grade 3 with 30 power, and the skill is Count Vanguard. You can only ride Ezel cards on top of this card. Very important wording here because Bastion could technically ride on top of this card, so just being able to superior ride Ezel and then just go Bastion Prime can be quite a bit of a cheat. So this part makes sense, especially because Ezel is a superior ride engine that could be played in any cater deck if it wasn't for this. And also for possible future support, we might actually get these Ezel evolutions as well, so just keep that in mind. So they're just locking it in archetype only. But anyway, second skill, Auto Vanguard. At the beginning of your ride phase, you get 3 or less units, cause Soul Blast 1, look at top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to one grade 3 or less unit card from among them, and call it to open rearguard, and then put the rest of the bottom deck in any order. Keep in mind, if you're doing Persona ride, and since this says beginning of your ride phase, this happens before the Persona ride, so keep that one in mind. And who knows, this actually can trigger those rearguard skills that require your Vanguard to be on place. Keep that one in mind. And finally, to the main skill, Auto Vanguard. When this card attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, cost Counter Blast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 grade 3 or less unit cards from among them and call them to open rearguards, and then this card gets plus 10k power until the end of turn. So luckily, power isn't much of an issue being a 23k attacker. The only thing is, it's restricted to calling open rearguards. It is multi-attack, so keep that in mind, but the fact that you have to clear up your board can be a little restrictive, but it is doable in some gold paladin cards, as you see for Bowmains, the 15k attacker to return to the bottom of the deck, and there's definitely other ways to clear up your board from some Cater Sanctuary cards. It is a little unfortunate that those rearguards don't get power though, because attacking on its own without power can be very weak, let's just say. Unless if they get power on its own, they might not hit the Vanguard, and even with triggers can block some stuff. But overall, you can actually do the 5 attacks with this deck, so I will take it. Hopefully we will get the cool evolutions of Ezels soon, maybe at set 14. And now to the attack name order card, Reign Supreme, King of Beasts, or in this case a chant, which is a grade 3 normal order, and you play if your Vanguard is Ezel. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less cards from among them, and call it to rearguard, and it gets plus 5k power until the end of turn, and of course shuffle your deck. The only thing is, this card basically trades itself for another unit from the top 7, which can still be a miss, but the extra 5k can help, especially sometimes you'll get those weak rearguard attacks. So I guess it is a nice trade-off in a way, but I don't completely recommend this card because it's literally a trade for one other unit. The only nice thing about this is that it activates skills, mainly the ones that says call by abilities. And now to some support cards. We start out with Silver Fang Witch, which is a grade 1 with power and the skill is auto when placed on rearguard. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, that is Gold Paladin, this card gets plus 5k power until end turn and then costs counter +1 to draw a card. Not entirely too bad considering the amount of on place that you will be doing, especially for the bouncing back to the bottom to call from Ezel, and that extra 5k will really help out for some attack numbers. And the extra counterblast to draw is just a nice extra bonus. I would just have to say it's a little bit of a surprising unit to have this card instead of something like Sagramore, because I think Sagramore is more played for most Ezel decks than this. I'm just saying. Finally, Listener of Truth Dindrain, which is grade 1 with power and skillless. Auto when placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard has a clan, costs Soul Blast 2 to countercharge 1. The thing is, the ride lines for Cater Sanctuaries that we have so far all could technically play this since they don't have really much of a soul problem, and the countercharge is pretty nice. If you play this in Majesty Lord, you're going to be sucking blaster cards to soul, so that's not going to be an issue at all, although you probably won't want to soul blast those cards for the countercharge, just saying, and counterblast is not really much of an issue in that deck. So I'll have to say that. You play this in Phantom Blaster Overlord, you're gaining soul from Nemen, and you rarely use soul in that deck. You play this with Minerva, you have a lot of soul charging because it's Genesis. And the extra soul blasting is also pretty helpful because that will combo up with some skills. So yeah, this could be played by pretty much any Cater encounter deck because this literally says as long as your Vanguard is a clan. But anyway, second skill, auto rearguard. At the end of battle that this unit boosts, if your Vanguard is Ezel, cost, put another rearguard in the same column as this unit to the bottom of the deck and stand this unit. This is very helpful to not only clear up your board for Ezel, but the fact that it restands itself makes it another booster for the second attack of it. That is just very nice overall, and this must be played in Ezel overall. But the first skill is just very nice that you could play this in technically any Cater Sanctuary encounter deck, because countercharging, and most of them don't even have soul problems. And in fact, not really counterblast problems either, even though Ezel's main skill does require counterblast and in a way does use soul, but there are a good number of ways to soul charge in Cater Sanctuary as well, since there are Hex Orb stuff, so there is that as well. So that's it for this new Ezel. What do you guys think of it? At the moment, nothing super crazy. I do like the combos that you can play in this deck, especially the Superior Calling, but so far nothing super crazy. Of course, multi-attack, sure, but it requires open rear guards, the only restriction of it, but of course there's ways to get around it. But at the moment, obviously introduction, nothing crazy. Let's see if they make us an Ezel evolution, and they probably will do that with Platina Ezel. But anyway, one important question I want to ask. Of all the new ride lines that are both from U-Quake and the encounters, which one's your favorite? I have to say Vermilion. Vermilion is dragon, so I'm a sucker for dragons, and the fact that it's actually pretty powerful in introduction is pretty nice. Silhouette is pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't really like the design too much. If we have to add the new forms of the cross epics, I'll have to add in Roroa along with Degria, because at least Degria is very unique with its own Persona Ride form. But in that, I just gave you my thoughts, and see you all next time.